Hey Explorers, Kid Explorer here, and today I'm here to bring you your US travel guide about St. Louis. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what you need to know before you head to St. Louis in the St. Louis travel guide. So in this video, we're going to talk about where to stay, where to eat, things to do, and so much more. So make sure you stay all the way to the end so you can get all of these notes to help you prepare for your next trip to St. Louis, Missouri. And before we do, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already subscribed, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. Now let's get into this St. Louis travel guide. So first of all, there are a variety of different places you can stay. You can try to stay at an Airbnb or a variety of different hotels, or if you're into house sitting, you can do that as well. But for me, when I went to St. Louis, I stayed at the Pennywell Hotel, which is a Hilton hotel right downtown. I could walk over to a variety of different activities and didn't have to pay any money because I was within walking distance. The hotel was very comfortable. The bed was comfortable. The room was nice, had very high ceilings, decorated nicely. The button in the bathroom was a little dirty, but I cleaned that off with my cleaning supplies. They did have a wonderful fitness center, so if you're there for a long time period and you want to work out, they have a 24-hour fitness center. They have a restaurant, they serve breakfast, they have room service, and it's just a great little place to stay, and the staff is wonderful there as well. And if you're interested in learning more or seeing more about the Pennywell Hotel, I do have a video that tours the hotel, which will be linked down below. Now, of course, you have to go out and eat sometime. You don't want to always have room service or go down to the hotel's restaurant, which are great options. But St. Louis does have a lot of options for food. You can go to Flora's STL. They serve breakfast. It is a very small diner, so you want to make sure you get there when it opens, or you're going to have to wait because the diner filled quickly after I arrived. The food was delicious. There was only 2 people working in the restaurant, and they was working that restaurant. They was taking the orders, they was making the food, and it was just so delicious, so flavorful. Another place to eat is Winnie's Wine Bar. Now, it's also a great place to drink, I should add. You can get wine flights, you can try wines from around the globe, but they also have nice little food options. They don't have full-blown meals because it's just really a place to go drink wine. But if you want to drink wine, have some food. They do have small little plates, and some of them are shareable plates. So if you are going with other people, you can share that with others. Now, if you're going solo, you can get a shareable plate, and then it'll almost be a meal. But it is a really cute vibe, very relaxing inside of Winnie's Wine Bar. Another place to eat is Soul Taco, which is in the Grove District of St. Louis. It kind of has a fast food vibe and not a fast food vibe. So like you go in there and order, it looks like kind of like a fast food restaurant, but they have a nice little seating area. And I don't know, it's really cute. You're gonna get your food pretty quickly. And I ended up getting dumplings while I was there, and they were pretty good. I really enjoyed going in there. I wish I had time to try other items while in Soul Taco, but if you want some Korean food, that's definitely a quick place to go to get that Korean flair. Also, if you are going on a river cruise, you can select a dinner option, which is what I did, but do not get the chicken meal because that was not the best. The pasta meal, which someone had nearby, that actually looked pretty decent, but don't get the chicken meal. Also, do not eat at Prime 55. Horrible service. They couldn't even get me to pay. I sat there for an hour trying to pay. So don't waste your time at Prime 55, at least the downtown location. They do have 2 locations. I can't speak for the other one, but I can speak for the downtown location. Don't waste your time. And lastly, again, the restaurant and hotel, the Penny Drop, people from outside do go into that restaurant as well. It has a nice setup, and they do have nice food options, but the food options for lunch and dinner are the same. They don't change the menu. I got chicken wings and a salad when I went there. And the food was pretty good. It wasn't my favorite food, but it was still good. So you could check that out as well, especially if you decide to stay in the Pennywell Hotel. Now let's talk about things to do. Of course, if you've never been to St. Louis, you have to go to the St. Louis Arch. Now, I wasn't a big fan of going up in the Arch. I'm thankful it was only $16, I believe, because I was like, you can't even see. I was thinking like when you go up the elevator or the tram to the top, there would be a little bit of windows, but then I'm like, I guess not, because you don't see windows from the outside. So literally you were in this tight little submarine looking car that took you up to the top. You're only up there for 10 minutes. The whole experience is like 45 minutes, but most of the time it's waiting in line and then learning a little bit of a history from a guide before you get on the tram. So if you want to say you went up to the top of the arch, do it. Otherwise, taking photos and going outside around the arch is also very nice. Also, another thing that you can do, which I kind of mentioned in the food segment, is to take a river cruise. They do have cruises where you can just go on as a tour. They have the dinner cruise, which is called the Skyline Dinner Cruise. So you can go on there at night and you can go during the sunset, hopefully, and have dinner, have drinks, and listen to a DJ. You're on there for about 2 hours. They do have other cruise options. They have different types of themed cruises throughout the month, so you need to just check it out on their website. And you can actually purchase your ticket coupled with the St. Louis Arch, so you can get a little package deal when you do both. Another thing you can do is to go on a tour at Anheuser-Busch, which makes Budweiser's, Stella Artois, and a lot of different beer brands. They have a huge planning factory there, and they have a wonderful tour experience. They have, I believe, 4 different tour options. I went on the Day Fresh tour, which gave you history of Anheuser-Busch there in St. Louis. Talked about how things are processed. You went into the actual plant where they make things. And it was really cool. That tour lasted about 1 hour and 15 minutes, but they also have other tours available that may get a little more involved. So you could pick the tour that you would like that's best for you. Also, St. Louis has a lot of museums that are free access unless there is a special exhibition. I went to the St. Louis Art Museum, which was cool. All their permanent exhibitions are free. If they have a temporary exhibit, which they did when I went, which was for the culture, there will be a fee. In that case, I believe it was $12, which isn't expensive. So if you want to go see those temporary or special exhibits, definitely do so. They do have a zoo. If you are interested in seeing animals in a zoo, they have that, which has free entry. But I was told to not go to the zoo during August, especially because the animals tend to hide because it's hot in August there. Also, they also have a history museum as well, which has free entry, and you can go and check out those exhibits, and they're all located in Forest Park. Speaking of Forest Park, you can go there, go for a run. I saw people doing yoga in the park. You can walk around. They have a nice water area you can look at. There's a fountain. And it's just really a relaxing place you can hang out at during the day. There are a lot of different things you can do in St. Louis. They have Ferris wheel. You can go over to the neighborhood, The Grove, which I mentioned is where the Soul Taco is at. They have a lot of food places, a lot of places to hang out and party. Now, I wasn't there for a long time period, but I did see that there was a Cardinals game going on, which that stadium was very close, within walking distance from my hotel. So if you want to check out a Cardinals game, you can go to that. Also, there is an old courthouse you can visit. It was closed when I went. I can't remember the reasoning. It's like closed for a time period, but you can check that out. I heard it's really cool to look at inside the courthouse. So that's something you can do, which is also near the St. Louis Arch. All in all, there are a lot of different museums there. There's sculpture parks, and just a variety of things to do while in St. Louis. But this is a great list to get you started for your trip to St. Louis, Missouri. Now let's talk about getting around St. Louis. So of course you can always rent a car, but that may be a little more money than you want to spend, or you may not want to drive. I don't like driving when I travel. Also, it's not good for the planet in cases, unless you get an electric vehicle. But that is an option that you can do to get around. Another option is obviously you can take ride sharing if you don't rent a car from time to time. Obviously, ride sharing can add up in cost, and again, it may not always be the most eco-friendly. Another way to get around is their MetroLink. They do have a MetroLink rail, which is kind of like a train subway situation. It doesn't really go underground. It is above ground, but you can take it and it is very cheap, if not free sometimes, because one time I got on, I had to pay. I don't know what's going on. Don't do that. If you see you should pay somewhere, make sure you pay, especially if you're going to cross over into Illinois. Definitely need to pay because the MetroLink crosses 2 states. So you can take it from the airport, you can go through the city. I took it from the airport to my hotel. I took it from the museum to my hotel. So there's a lot of different ways to get around with the Metrolink there. Very cheap and affordable, and it's good for the planet. Another thing you can do is obviously you can take scooters. I don't like scooters because I live in Atlanta and people drive crazy and the traffic's bad, and most people, it seems like, can't really stop them that well. I've had people run out in front of me while I'm driving. So it stresses me out. So that's why I'm like, I do not use scooters here at all. But in St. Louis, the traffic wasn't bad. It wasn't, people wasn't driving crazy. So I did use a scooter to get from my hotel to brunch that one day. So if you want to do that, you can. Also, if you are staying in a location that is near things like the hotels near the St. Louis Arch, you can just walk over because it is a short walking distance to the Arch. Now let's talk about cost. Obviously, this is a US city. If you are coming from outside of the US, from Europe, it's going to be cheaper because your currency, especially if you're from Britain, your currency is stronger than the US dollar. But a lot of other places, your currency may be weaker than the US dollar. And if that is the case, obviously it's gonna be a little more costly for you because it is a US city. Now, if you're coming from another US city, say you're coming from New York, even here from Atlanta, major cities, it is a little bit more cheaper and affordable to do things in St. Louis, thank goodness. And the reason why I went there was to go see Beyonce in concert because it was actually cheaper for me to fly there, have Club Renaissance seats that I did buy a few months in advance, get a hotel, which I use points for, and see her there than to get the tickets here for Club Renaissance in Atlanta. So the market is a little bit cheaper, a little more affordable, I would say, than major cities. But if you're coming from comparable cities like Cleveland, Detroit, something of that nature is similar to St. Louis or even Louisville, it's going to be a similar cost. If you're coming from a smaller town, it's probably going to be more expensive. So it's like kind of a middle ground city when it comes to cost. I say it's affordable, but for some people, maybe it's not. Lastly, let's talk about safety. This is a US city, and with all US cities, there are parts of the city that aren't the best or aren't as welcoming as other parts. I don't know where those parts are because I did not see them or experience them while I was there. But with any US city, always be, observant of your surroundings and making sure you're using common sense. Don't go down a dark alleyway by yourself, especially if you're female at night. Do make sure you're just taking precautions to be safe. This is the US. I know people from the US always think like we're the most safe place. We're not. You never know what can happen in any place in the United States. So just make sure you're just cautious and being careful. Now, as for me walking around and traveling around as a solo woman in St. Louis, I never had a threat or concern of my safety. The only issue was this man at the St. Louis Arch, which was really weird. He ran up to me asking me to go on the tram ride with him because he said that the worker there told him we were on the same tram ride, and he just kept pressing me. He was like, we can sit together on the cruise. Luckily he wasn't on any of these things together. But eventually I had to say loudly and firmly, no. It's like, let me get my self-defense on because you're getting a little bit too pushy and too creepy for me, and I don't have time for it. So that was the only moment. Luckily it happened in a public space if something was to happen, but it was still like, I did get off the dinner cruise at night. I had to walk from the dinner cruise over to my hotel. The only part that was a little sketchy is that at the Arch at night, it's dark. There's not many lights there. So that wasn't like the most comforting situation, but there was a lot of people out there, even people coming off the river boat with me. So nothing happened. I never felt concerned. For me, it was safe. I didn't have any issues, but also I pay attention to my surroundings and making sure I am alert at all times, whether on the Metro Rail, walking around in a public place. I'm always going to take precautions, as should you. Now, this does not discount the fact that your experience or other people's experience may be different from mine. So I still encourage you to go if you've never went, but just let you know what happens to me may or may not happen to you. All right, explorers, I hope you enjoyed the St. Louis travel guide, breaking down this US city for you to get you started in your planning for your upcoming trip to St. Louis, Missouri. Just to recap, we talked about in this video where to stay, places to eat and drink, things to do, how to get around, cost and safety of St. Louis. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure you hit that like button. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. It is free for you to do so, and it helps me provide more and better content to you in the future. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you so much. I truly appreciate it. If you have any questions or comments about this video, make sure you leave them down below in the comment box, but keep it classy or you won't get approved. Make sure you share this video with your friends, family, and social media networks so they can learn about St. Louis as well. And if you would like to support my business more, you can always leave me a tip by hitting the thanks button down below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day or night wherever in the world you are. Bye.